Hello and welcome to today's session of Staying Visible During Challenging Times. This is Dan Paulson, CEO of Envision Development International. Today we are going to be talking about how you can stay visible in a tight marketplace. What are some things that you can do? So this is the fourth in a series of sessions that I've been hosting on YouTube. The first one is Assess and Protect. Next one is Functioning in a Virtual Environment. The third one was Finding Opportunities. And the last one will be Keeping Morale Up, and we'll probably even continue beyond that. So I took a little bit different approach this time. I brought in Lou Bortone, who's an expert in video, Adrian Miller, who is an expert in sales, and Joey Guido, who is an expert in SEO. And we're going to have a little roundtable discussion to help you out and teach you some ways that you can do things for yourself in each of those fields. So let's get started. But first, let's talk about safety. As you probably know by now, I repeat this every time, follow CDC and WHO guidelines, practice social distancing, be sure you wash your hands, practice a lot of self-care, take care of yourself while you're out there now. Try to keep life as normal as possible. Try to keep your sanity. If you feel ill, by all means, stay away from others. And along the way, let's have some fun. All right, welcome to our fourth session called Talking About Visibility and How You Maintain Visibility in Adverse Times. I have some guests with me on this one because I am not necessarily the expert. I know other people who are far more talented than I am on how you stay visible, especially when you might be in a remote situation. So let's go around the table. The virtual table this time, and introduce my guests. So first I'm going to start with Joey. Joey, could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hey, my name is Joey Donovan Guido, and the name of my business is Cuppa SEO Web Design. So as you might imagine, we do web design services with a heavy focus on SEO, user experience, and conversion.
Excellent. Thank you, Joey. Lou, jump in.
Thank you. I am a video marketing consultant. I help people get their video marketing together, whether it's YouTube marketing or live streaming or video conferencing and all the kind of stuff that we're having to do more of now.
Thank you, Lou. And how do people get a hold of you?
You can find me at loubortone.com, B-O-R-T-O-N-E.
Thank you. Adrian.
Thanks. Adrian Miller Sales Training. Isn't it amazing? But I do sales training and consulting and help people actually help them to monetize all of the marketing endeavors they do. So I look very closely at the integration of what you're going to talk about today: visibility, marketing, and sales.
Mm-hmm. So we're living in some pretty interesting times right now, and I want to make sure that everything we talk about here not only applies to our current situation related to this pandemic, but can also be used if we go through another recession, if something about somebody's industry changes and they realize they have to shift their marketing or how they become visible. So I'm just going to open up the question to each of you. Each of you has a different level of expertise in one area. Looking at probably small to medium-sized companies are going to be viewing this and trying to figure out what to do. What would your recommendations be from your level of expertise? And I will start with Adrian first, since you are right here, ready to go.
So I think right now, people's first thought is to look at every way they can save money, make sure that they're, maintain cash flow, not put any investment into anything that will help them with visibility and outreach. And I 100% understand that. So what I do tell my clients and prospects and people who I'm on Zoom calls with is there's a lot of platforms. There's a lot of things you can do to stay visible and recognizable. So in no particular order is not stop prospecting. But I don't think you stop prospecting because we have a pandemic. I don't think you ever stop prospecting. I think business development is not an event. It's something that happens and should happen each and every day. And for every day you don't do something in terms of your business development endeavors, means one day on the other end of the curve that you will not have a prospect, you will not have someone perhaps knocking at your door, and your sales funnel will become a little less full. The second thing, because of the time, but I think this is something, again, doesn't matter if we're having a pandemic, a recession, or just regular old business life, always keep on top of what makes you different. And it's going to change because the market changes, your competitors change. What makes you different, and how does that point of differentiation equal an improvement in your prospect's situation? Because if you can't show how you improve a situation, I think they're going to be pretty darn unhappy about connecting with you. Okay, so that's a really important thing. And utilize all the tools that are out there. I mean, I think that's particularly true now. We can see people going crazy on all the social media platforms, but we really try to come up with a strategy as opposed to just putting out as much stuff as you can. Think about who you're talking to, what are you saying to them, and how you can really form a connection. Because remember, having 5,000 likes on a post does not pay the mortgage. This is not a popularity contest here. Likes do not equal revenue, short or long term, if you don't do it right. That's my quick 2 cents.
Thank you for that. I think that leads well into what Lou could talk about related to how you utilize video, especially in a time like this. So what are some things that people should be doing right now, Lou?
Yeah, I agree with Adrian. You can't just crawl under a rock and throw in the towel. The nice thing is that because, well, I guess if there is a silver lining, it's like, all right, we're all forced to sort of work at home, but we have the ability to connect like this through Zoom or through videos or through, live streaming on Facebook. So we don't have to be, I think somebody made the distinction. We can be physically distant, but we don't have to be socially distant because we can connect like this. And I've been saying for years, which I think is going to be more important than ever, is that video, because it creates know, like, and trust, actually accelerates the sales process. So I think it's going to be really important now for folks to connect and engage that way, so that since we're not seeing people in person, we can continue to see them virtually and still start to build that know, like, and trust that's going to help us in sales.
Got it. Great. Thanks. Joey, how about you? Sure, people have a website that they should probably be reviewing at this point. Make sure people can find it.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things I'd like to share, and really kind of in high agreement with Adrian and Lou, especially when they both mentioned connecting with people. And I think that's a really good way to look at it. We don't want to look at it as selling to them, even though we might want to make a sale or make a connection to have a client. If we can build a connection with them, something that's more meaningful than a like, as Adrian said, we'll be in pretty good shape. And this is actually something I've been thinking about. And there's kind of 2 phases. Phase 1 is, how do we connect with people right away in a way that actually builds a relationship where we're sharing what we do, the benefits of what we do, but also at some level acknowledging what's going on. I think kind of the day of the hard sell has been on its way out for a long time. But if we can do a video, do a blog post, or just do a social media post where we're connecting as human beings, that trust factor starts to get built. So the question becomes, how do we do that short term to get out there, connect with people, and the people who are in need of what we do know we do it, and then we've started to build some trust, and we can go ahead and develop the relationship further. That's kind of the short-term goal to help small businesses that are struggling get some income. But what this also does, if we continue it, as Adrian mentioned, it's not something you start and stop. It's something you do your best to do long-term. You'll continue building those relationships. And then when business gets kind of quote unquote back to normal, you have a stronger business from it. That's phase 1. To your point, Dan, when you mentioned websites, something I would highly encourage people to do is yes, assess your website and don't spend any money right now if you don't have it. But what you can do is something that's I call common sense SEO. Look at your site. See if things like your images are named. Are your title tags named? Do you have keywords on the page that make sense in alignment with what people are searching for? And there's a lot of good information on my website, CuppaSEO.com, how you can kind of do this yourself. And this is more of a long tail thing because you're not going to start to see results in most cases until like about 3 months from now. But we don't want to wait until 3 months to start it. If you can start doing some common sense SEO now, like for me, things are, we do web design, we do SEO, we do user experience. Man, even if you don't have the tools or the know-how to do a deep dive into this, put it on your website. People are searching for these kind of things.
That's great advice. Lou, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Sure.
If you could walk somebody through it, just a basic how-to of maybe how to get started on video. The nice part is it's gotten really inexpensive right now. You can use your phone, your iPad. There's plenty of tools out there. What would you tell somebody who now is going to be probably locked up at home, maybe with some kids running around, trying, at least put some marketing together and get their word out there while they're at home?
Yeah. Well, I would start with use what you've got, because like you said, your iPhone is your best camera, or your Android, really good cameras. So you don't have to go and say, oh my gosh, I need to get all this equipment. Second thing is that done is better than perfect. Like you mentioned, like, look, right now it's just more important to get your message out there than to be, worried about production and fancy stuff. And then the last thing is just look for the low hanging fruit, which I consider like Facebook Live, probably the easiest way to get started with video. It's less formal, there's less pressure. It's basically 2 taps on your iPhone and you can be live on Facebook. And then finally, find simple ways to connect like I do. And I encourage my students and clients to do video email. So basically I can pop on Zoom. Can you guys hear me? Pop on Zoom or a tool I use called Loom at useloom.com and do a quick check-in. Hey, Laura, it's Lou. How you doing? Just want to check in, see how you're doing. And you're not trying to get a sale. You're just connecting. And you're using video to do that. So even if it's just Zoom, which is free for 40 minutes, you can do up to 40 minutes on Zoom for free, I think. Some of these services like Loom and Zoom are actually opening up their platform more and offering discounts right now because so many folks need it. But again, just look for that low-hanging fruit.
That's excellent. Joey, kind of the same thing. You did touch base on it a little bit, but if I'm starting to look at my website, and this might be the first time I've ever actually looked behind the scenes to figure out how this darn thing works. What would I need to do, or where would I need to start to really kind of get an understanding of how my website works and what I need to tweak to make it better?
Sure. Well, from a real high level, the things you want to do is first, just type in your URL and take a look right on your homepage on desktop. That's where I would advise starting. And really what you're looking for is you're looking to answer some very simple but important questions. 1, how does my website look? When I show up there, do I feel like I feel grounded, like I know the lay of the land, like I know what's what and what to do next? And this is something that's typically referred to as user experience, which is the positive, negative, or neutral experience somebody has on your website. So a good example is if you show up on a website and there's 8 calls to actions and 3 navigations and there's a rotating slider going where every 2 or 3 seconds there's a new image and a new message, that's bad. You want to clean that up, clean up all the noise, and give one clear, solid message that addresses one of the major pain points that your potential clients might have. So that's the UX. And when you're addressing that pain point directly head on, it makes it a lot easier to make your website conversion, or in layman's terms, the button somebody will press to take an action, that much more compelling. So for instance, a lot of the times I'll have a call to action like, are you having trouble getting found on Google? Yeah, okay, we can help you. Let's talk. Click the button and we know exactly what we're signing up for when we click that button, if that makes sense. So that's user experience and conversion. And conversion, the way I define it, is it's making it easy for the website visitor to take the next step you want them to take. And there's nothing nefarious going on here. We're not trying to twist arms or use fear tactics. We're trying to serve up the best benefits we have for you. And if it's something you need, let's talk. The third facet of this is what's called search engine optimization, which we could talk about for 5 hours. But essentially, it's putting strategies into play on your website that help you get found on Google, that make it that when someone does a web search for something like life coach, SEO, or anything else, you have a greater ability to show up on page one in the results. It's kind of all three things need to be looked at once, because if you think about it, if you work with us and we get you 1,000 extra hits a month and your website is confusing, you're not going to see much more business from that. So it's really a holistic approach to your website.
That's great advice. Love it. Adrian,
Yeah.
I would guess that most people who are in business, especially small to medium-sized businesses, in the past knew how to sell, but I would say selling, especially right now, has taken a different turn. So what would you focus on with somebody who maybe doesn't have the resources? Maybe they had to let some of their sales team go just due to, the way the environment is, or maybe it's, again, if we're looking at this during a recession time, the owner now has to jump back in and help ramp up sales. What would you tell them to do?
I'm going to stress again, really understanding what makes their product or service different. If they can't quickly drill down to that, frankly, on their website and in a video too, if they're doing that kind of video, they are going to be irrelevant, and there's too much competition and clutter out there in the marketplace for them to resonate. So they do need to know that. They do need to figure out how they can add value to a relationship while they're nurturing the relationship through. Not everyone enjoys a sales cycle of like a week, or, click to buy or anything like that. You might have somebody who's a prospect or a referral source, and they are talking to you for months, if not years, before they pull the trigger on doing business with you. And you can't be continually checking in and touching base, because in a very short amount of time, they will never take your call and they will never respond to your email, video email, or whatever. So you need to figure out how you can add value. So you can add value by introducing them to somebody who could add value to their business, either as a referral source or a potential client, or even add value, introduce them to somebody who's interesting to them in their personal life, because some of their hobbies or orientations, what they like to do, and people who are going to bond like that. So introductions, if I get known as person who's a people connector, you'll never ignore my email. You'll never not take my call. Invitations, how easy that is for all of us. We get so many invitations, and what do? Most of us delete, 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 delete. Instead of deleting, press forward. So you get an introduction, or an invitation to a webinar or an event, and you say, wow, this is a really good event. I can't go to this. I really can't go to this. I'm busy. I don't have the bandwidth. But if I press forward and I send it to you, Lou, with a little note that says, hey, the speaker is a rock star. I don't know if you have the time, but you should consider going. The speaker is ecstatic. An event person knows how hard it is to get, butts and seats. So they're real happy too. Lou is saying, oh, Adrian thought of me. Wow, that's so nice, and she's not checking in to see if I want to buy her sales stuff. So it's a win-win-win for everyone who's involved in that one. And you can't not be able to do that, because don't we get all those emails coming to us at all times? But our first instinct is to delete. And the last thing is information. It's sharing information. So it takes a few extra moments, because you might actually have to do a Google search, but being very pointed in making sure that the people you're trying to stay close with, send them a link to a really fabulous TED Talk. where you add some comments, so it doesn't look like you're just forwarding out content and like, you know, you haven't even looked at the video, so you're makes you actually look stupid as opposed to smart. If you know something about their business and you put their business category tag words, etc., into Google Alerts, Google will feed you stuff, and you can share the link with that person and say, hey, did you know that your arch competitor has come out with this new release in their, you know, on their ERP platform? Maybe they know, maybe they don't. But even if they know, you've gotten a little part of their brain, and they're thinking, wow, she again was thinking of me and I'm relevant and important. So you're adding value to the relationship before there's really a relationship, because some of our sales cycles, mine is quite long. I can't disappear. I do all this networking. If I don't stay visible, I shouldn't go to anything. I shouldn't talk to anybody, because you're not going to remember me unless I'm kind of front and center. We can do it through social media a lot more now, but there's so much clutter on there right now. I mean, people are frantically posting all the time. I understand why I'm one of those people, but what's happening is we're all being put into that big soup bowl together. You know, it's going to take a while till we carve out our little areas of differentiation. So that's what I would recommend to people. Make sure they can really nail those two very important things in the sales process, because you can have a fantastic website. You can get people to come to your door, ring your bell, call you up, send you an email, send you to a text. But if you are not just a click here to buy this product, you have to have some sales skills, and you have to have a sales process.
Excellent. Thank you. Joey, I'm going to jump back to you on this one. Let you start this out. Right now, in the environment we're in, I'm sure we are going to see a lot of hucksters out there. So as each of you think of this question, what would you alert somebody to that they should watch out for if they are contacted via email or via phone or whatever methodology that somebody uses, that they should really ask questions around to make sure that if that is a service that they need, that what they should look for?
Yeah, well, how much time do you have for this answer?
I'll give you a few minutes. You don't got all day.
Okay, so the first thing that just comes to mind, something easy, if you get a call from someone who says they're from Google, it's baloney, hang up. Google never calls people ever. If they're telling you your Google My Business listing is about to expire or any kind of baloney like that, just hang up. Don't even respond. If something needs to come through from Google to you about your website or your Google My Business listing, which, by the way, is an excellent way to reach out locally to other potential clients or prospects. If you don't have a Google My Business listing set up, head on over to CuppaSEO.com and just search for that in my blog, and it'll tell you all about how to set it up. Or you can look in my book for tons of details. So that's a scam. Lots of people get calls mostly about, hey, we can get you to page one on it for SEO for however much a month. Sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's a few $100. That's also quite often sketchy. I'm on page one and I get contacted by these people. So they're not even looking most of the time. They're just finding businesses that they want to try and leech onto to try and get residuals coming to them each month so they can survive. Really, what you want to do is ask them to send you information. Ask them to send you a proposal or a link to their website, if they even have one, that gives you more detail. Don't ever sign up for anything, even if they say it's free. Get more information first, and then ask somebody you know. Does this look right to you?
Yeah.
You gotta find somebody you trust.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have it's just too much to cover.
Well, how about this? I know, so sales funnels. There are a number of people out there that, you know, have hit me up to do sales funnels or things like that. There are obviously good ones. There are obviously bad ones. What are some things that people should watch out for, especially people that might have a product or service that they do want to kind of put through that sales funnel pipeline? Does it make sense to do it? Is it something they should be cautious of? What do you think?
So yeah, so I'm not a believer in the philosophy of sales funnels because it objectifies people as things to sell to. I'm more of a believer in building relationships, and I think a lot of what Adrian has said thus far really resonates with me, where it's connecting with people in ways that you or your team can make honest, benefit-driven connections. I don't use them. Basic answer. I don't use them. I don't believe in them. I think there is a place for that, but quite often sales funnels are what I call going fishing, and you're casting a wide net, maybe trying maybe 5 or 10,000 fish that you want to try and catch some, and you're much better served determining who's my audience, what's the best way to talk to them, and man, even if I only reach out to 20 or 30 people a month instead of 5,000. And I engage with 10 or 20% of them, you're going to have a much higher ratio, much better referrals coming in from that, and relationships that are meaningful instead of just transactional.
Great, thank you. Adrian, I'll jump to you. So what are things people should watch out for on the sales side? What are some different issues you've seen that come along that might trick people out of their money?
Yeah, the person who says for my $5,000 program, I guarantee I'm going to get you $100,000 worth of business this week. That's one. And I see this. People send me this. People send me this on LinkedIn. It's just unbelievable. Ridiculous kinds of numbers. People who make it seem like all the things that we do are going to result, not as an exception, but as a rule, in like massive positive results pouring in without the work, okay, without the work. And those offers are all over the place. They were all over the place before this pandemic. They're going to still be all over the place after. It's not to say there aren't people who do have, and I've never used a ClickFunnels or anything like that, who have reputable companies and good strategies and all that kind of stuff. But the people who, it's the cliche, a get rich quick scheme. I mean, really? Does anyone still buy that? But I guess the answer is yes, because people still believe that the prince of some third world country, if you only send him or her $5,000, they are going to be able to send you a check for $250,000, or click here and just give me your social security number and your last 4 digits of your bank account, and I too are going to be able to introduce you to millions. It's a combination, I believe, of fear, greed, and being incredibly naive. And if it sounds too good to be true, it is not true. Okay, I really believe that. You got to do the work, and it may come slower than you want. It may even come slower than you need. We know that, especially now, given crazy stuff going on with people paying for us, people being able to pay us, revenue coming in, etc. But if there's no quick rich quick, you might hustle something up. I think people in sales now have to look to how they may want to re-engineer their products or product or service offering, come up with what Laura says, a low-hanging fruit kind of offer, which is something that people can bite on quickly, with the hope that a little bit later on they can swim upstream and afford more, etc. But there's no get rich quick. And if anyone here has one, please send me the URL, because help out a girl in New York. You know how expensive it is here.
I think if there was one, that person's sitting on an island somewhere that they have bought, and we're not going to be able to talk to them anyway. Lou, how about you? What are the things that they should watch out for if it's related to video or any other marketing that you've seen?
Yeah, like Adrian said, there is no, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But I also think some of those posts, like I got one today, 5,000 leads for blah, blah, blah. I'm like, first of all, it's tone deaf in this environment. And second of all, people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. I know that phrase keeps coming up, but I'm not going to do business with anyone unless I know them or unless they've been referred by someone I trust. So if Adrian says, you got to talk to this guy, he's the real deal, then I'm okay. Otherwise, maybe it's because I'm from Boston, but I'm totally cynical. I don't trust anybody or anything unless I have already built that trust with them, or unless they're referred from a reliable source. So I would say now more than ever, you got to keep your guard up. But again, it comes back to, if you are doing video, if you are connecting, if you are sincere, hopefully that's going to come across on video, and you are going to be likable and trusted.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you all. I appreciate you participating in this, because I think you gave far more educated advice than I would, talking about how you stay visible. Lou, I'll start with you. Just share again, how do people get a hold of you?
You can go to my website at loubortone.com. It's probably the easiest way to find me.
Okay. Adrian, how about you?
AdrianMiller.com or amiller@adrianmiller.com. And like Lou spelt his last name, I'm going to spell my first name, because Adrian is Adrian. The Miller part is easy. The Adrian part's more difficult.
Awesome. Thank you. Joey, how about you?
I'm thinking about Rocky right now. Sorry. Yo, Adrian. So my website is www.cuppaseo.com, and it's CUPPA, S as in Sam, E as in egg, O as in orange.com.
Excellent. And of course, this is Dan Paulson. I am CEO of Envision Development International. You can find me at plan-coach-develop.com. And if you have any questions for me or any one of these folks, I encourage you to reach out. They have all been very generous with their time here and with their knowledge. And they're always happy to help. That's part of the reason why I invited these people on the call, is they will take care of you. So thanks again, everybody. And till next time, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So thank you to our guests today. Hope you enjoyed them and hope you learned a lot. Be sure to remember, it's all about the relationships. Stay connected. Focus on the person, not the sale. It can be a little difficult to do when times are tough and you're looking to bring money in the door, but be sure the focus remains on the individual. Watch out for those scammers. Seems like anytime the economy gets bad, the scammers come out in full force. So pay attention to that. Again, special thanks to Adrian Miller, Lou Bortone, and Joey Guido. And here's their website information. If you need to get a hold of any of them to help you out, please do so. Let them know that you saw this video and that is where you got their contact information. You can also get a hold of me at plan-coach-develop.com. I also have a booking site. You can contact me directly and set up a 30-minute meeting where I will help you out as best I can. And it's pay what you want. So during this time when life is a little bit difficult, you can set up a call and see if I can help you out. That is it for today. Again, this is Dan Paulson, CEO of Envision Development International, and thank you for watching.